Hi, my name is Jake. Now let's talk music. Alright, so for this video, I decided let's stay on the train of like we're not just reacting to albums. So I did my list of underrated rappers. Here's my list of the top rappers of 2020's decade so far. We're like almost halfway. It's October. You can see I got the pumpkin up there. But yeah, um, God, that like sidetracked me so much. So today I'm talking about the best rappers of the 2020s decade so far. And I will say there's one person on this list who isn't a rapper, but they have had an amazing decade, and it's a producer who produces rap music, so I'm gonna count it. And that, of course, has to be Metro Boomin. Like, you can't talk about the 2020s decade without talking about Metro Boomin. He has had four different albums that have been amazing. And also, he's had different songs that weren't just on albums that he's produced, but we're mainly focusing on the albums, which you have Savage Mode 2 in 2020. Oh shit, never mind. He had five albums. Damn. Sorry. Savage Mode 2 in 2020. Heroes and Villains in 2022. Spider Man Into the Spider Verse movie soundtrack in 2023. We Don't Trust You this year, and We Still Don't Trust You this year. Like, those are some five high quality albums. And he did that all in the span of 4 years. So I just felt like I couldn't leave him out of this list. So that's my reasoning for having him here. And I'm doing this in no particular order. I'm not having like a ranking of these rappers, but I'm just going like in the order that I made the list on when I was doing the background for this. So yeah, Metro Boomin has to be mentioned on this list. Uh okay, the first rapper I have, Baby Keem. Now, I know he doesn't drop a lot, but we're supposed to have a Baby Keem album next year, and he had one of the best albums of the decade with his album The Melodic Blue. Also he dropped the original in 2021. He dropped the deluxe in 2022, and also, excuse me, he's had different singles and features he's been a part of, like the Hillbillies, which he did with his cousin Kendrick Lamar, and what was the other one that I wrote down? Leave Me Alone, which he was featured on that with Fred again. So yeah, he's not like up there yet, but he has the potential. He makes really good music, and honestly, I feel like he could be one of the top names in music in a couple of years. Up next, gotta say Jid. Jid has had an amazing decade so far. He has one of the best albums, if not the best album of the decade, with the Forever Story. It I don't know if I can say it's the best, but it's got to be up there. Oh, one thing I forgot to say about Baby Keem. I'm gonna backtrack. His feature on Praise God. Praise God was on Kanye's album Donda, which came out in 2020, and I almost forgot about that. I didn't write that down, but I was going to, but I forgot about it at the time. But yeah, I gotta mention that. Um, sorry, back to Jid. The Forever Story was definitely should have won like a Grammy that year, but it didn't. And it's probably the best album of this decade so far. Sorry. I don't know what I could say that's better than it. Like off the top of my head. Um, but yeah, not just that. He also had the collab album, Spilligion. I don't know how to say it. It was with Earth Gang. Like they're all on the Dreamville label, and they decided to do that collab album. Also some of his features, like well, feature of the year so far, Fuel on Eminem's new album, Lights Out, Sundown, Serial, and My Boy. Also, one of the biggest things this decade is some of his freestyles, like the 29 freestyle, 30 freestyle, 31 freestyle. Like, these are some amazing freestyles, like some of the best of the decade. Um, Next artist, which him and Jid, I hope make like a collab album because I feel like their two styles would marry perfectly together, and that's Denzel Curry. I mean, one of the most underrated rappers. I mean, I even talked about him in that video that I did. I think it was 2 days ago. Um, he really was. He has one of the most underrated discographies with Imperial, Zoo, Taboo, Melt My Eyes, See Your Future, Mischievous King of the South, Volume 2. And honestly, he's been having a great decade so far. Two of the albums I mentioned, Melt My Eyes, See Your Future, and King of the Mischievous South, Volume 2. Also, he had his album Unlocked in 2020. Also, I don't know if it's like big for the music scene, but for me, he had a live session at Music Lady. No, Electric Lady. It was a session at Electric Lady, and he debuted one of my favorite songs by him, Didn't You Know? Which, if y'all haven't listened to that, listen to it. It's beautiful. Um, okay, up next, one of the top rappers right now has got to be Don Toliver. I mean, he's released like 4 albums so far this decade. Yeah, Heaven or Hell in 2020, Life of a Dawn in 2021, Lovesick in 2023, and Hearthstone Psycho this year. And also, he's had some amazing features, which that's just a given. He's always been great on features. But yeah, he's had an amazing year. Uh, Honestly, yeah, an amazing year. He's also doing the Hearthstone Psycho tour, but an amazing decade is what I meant to say. Up next, this one was a little shaky for me, but I feel like I couldn't not mention him because he had an amazing album and he's got some amazing singles and features so far. And I feel like he is gonna make some more music that is gonna be top of the line. And I gotta mention Joey Badass. He released this album 2000 and 2022, one of the top albums of that year. Still not better than the Forever Story by Jid, but still. I listened to that so many times. I love it. Favorite song off of that gotta be Wanna Be Loved. Beautiful. Which Jid's featured on that. I mean, um, yeah. He's also had a couple of singles and features this year, but ever since he dropped the album, he's been a little low key, and I almost left him off of this list. It's just for me, I feel like I gotta have him on this list. I could have replaced him with somebody else, but I don't know. Up next, probably the biggest artist of this year, Kendrick Lamar. I mean, when you think of his 2020s decade so far, you have Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, won the Grammy that year, which should have been Forever Story, but still an amazing album. You have the Big Steppers tour. Uh, you have he's going to be performing in two Super Bowls. He performed in the Super Bowl 56 halftime performance, and he's the headliner for this year's Super Bowl, Super Bowl 59. Also, all of just this year with all the songs that he made in the Drake beef, he has Song of the Year to me with Not Like Us. God, that. Uh, and it got released like yesterday. It was either yesterday or 2 days ago. He is up for five different Grammys this year, which it makes sense. He's been one of the top artists this year. With only he hasn't dropped an album since 2022. It's just been singles, but because of this beef and how it turned out, he is in the limelight right now. He's the biggest artist this year. Um. Oh. Uh. Also, he did the pop out this year. That was big deal. Um. Yeah. Honestly, he's had a great year just this year, but I gotta mention him for the decade so far. He's been doing great. Up next, got Tyler the Creator. He's only had like one album, but there's also the deluxe album that he released, which is long enough to be its own album. Um, we got Call Me If You Get Lost and The Estate Sale, which both of those were amazing. But the biggest thing is the concerts he's been doing and headlining some of the biggest shows. I mean, he runs his own Camp Flog Gnaw like carnival, and then he also has his concerts there, which those are amazing concerts. He headlined at Coachella this year and in 2021. He headlined at Lollapalooza in 2021, and he was supposed to headline this year, but 1 month before his performance, he actually pulled out and Megan the Stallion took over, which that kind of sucked. But I get it. She dropped her album Megan, so it's still a good decision. But it would have been better to have Tyler the Creator. Next up, I got JPEG Mafia. You can't talk about this decade without mentioning JPEG Mafia because he has had an amazing run this decade. He dropped his EP Offline in 2021. He did Scaring the Hose in 2023 with Danny Brown, which we'll be talking about that again a little bit later. And honestly, contender for Album of the Year, I lay down my life for you. I think it's the second or third best album of this year. Number one has to be Blue Lips. I feel like Blue Lips is album of the year. If not that, also one that's in it that I know a lot of people are gonna hate. I gotta say Ultra 85 by Logic. Just the story behind it and the actual music itself is amazing. If you I know a lot of people hate on Logic, but give that album a chance. It was actually really good. Um, but yeah, JPEG Mafia's had a great year. I mean, yes, great year and great decade. God, I keep saying that. All right, next up, I was talking about him earlier, Danny Brown. I mean, he's also had a great decade. He had Scaring the Hose in 2023 with JPEG Mafia, Quarantana in 2023. Bird Without a Nest was an EP that he released this year, and also different singles and features across the decade. Several. I don't have any listed, but still, just he's been all over this decade. And the last one that I want to mention, uh, I truly enjoy listening to this guy's music, and I hope that he drops another album soon. The two albums that I've listened to by him have been amazing. But I'm talking about Corday. In 2021, he dropped his EP Just Until, which the meaning behind it is you'll have this new music, but this is only to get you by just until I drop my new album, which in 2022 he released From a Bird's Eye View, which amazing album. I feel like it deserves to get more love, but it's fine. Um, he also has had some of the best singles so far. 2010's with Anderson Paak, Doomsday, which is off of the All Is Yellow album, which is for Lyrical Lemonade. God. Uh, Make Up Your Mind, and this year, honestly, one of the best singles, Saturday Mornings with Lil Wayne. Great song. And he also has amazing features like OnlyFan, Life is Like a Dice Game, and Soda. Honestly, we have gotten some amazing music this decade, and the people that I've listed have put out some of the best music. So, honestly, I couldn't do a list without these people. And I'm excited for the rest of this decade. We still have over 5 years, so this list probably will change, but I don't think it's going to change too much. But let me know what you think. If there was anybody that I should have put on this list instead of somebody else. I feel like one person that I might hear is like Polo G or Lil Baby, but I feel like I had to put other people over them for this list. But yeah, if you like the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification button to stay up to date with all my videos. Um, I don't know what I'm gonna be doing next. Um, right now, one thing that happened is I lost my Spotify Premium, so it's hard to listen to full albums. But I'm gonna try and do a reaction to like Rich Homie Quan's album, his first album since his death, and I'm gonna listen to that and try and make a video. Probably listen through either SoundCloud or YouTube. I'll figure it out. But there's that album. Tuesday dropped an album, and T Grizzly dropped an album. I don't know if I'm gonna give a rating on those. I'll think about it. But yeah, until next time, peace.